Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another airbrush review. We're looking at the Mobius by Gaahleri and it is the 0.3. They sent me out the 0.2 and I did a review for you guys and did a little close-up with a really small camera, and there was just a couple of little defects on the 0.2. So we're going to do the same today and see what the 0.3 is like looking inside. Now this is the brush we are looking at today. It's exactly the same as the 0.2, but the 0.2's got a MAC valve to the bottom here. So that's the brush. Really nice finish on the brush. Nice chrome. I like the triggers on these. You're going to see a little spray test a little bit later on this. But a very nice put together brush. Now I've got the Gaahleri website pulled up and the prices on these are in dollars. Now the Mobius 0.3 was $75.99 and they've now dropped it to $64.99. The Mobius 0.2 was $89.99 and now they've dropped it to $76.99. So I think for the price, just getting it out of the box and picking it up and looking at it and having a feel of it, it's very, very cheap, guys, for what you're getting. You really are getting a lot of brush for the price. So a little bit more about it. You've got your, to the back, you've got your really nice twist design, which is like an infinity band that goes sort of twists and goes round. And then to the back here, you can dial in your trigger. So if you've not seen one of these on an airbrush before, you dial this all the way in and that stops your trigger movement. So what you can do is you can start to bring this out and you can start to set your paint flow on how much paint you want to come out the front of the brush. Now I usually use these when I'm painting. I have these set fully open so I've got full control of the trigger when I'm airbrushing. So if I want to put more paint down, I've got that full movement. But if you want to put minimal paint, you can just set that and you can set your trigger. So they are useful if you like using these. I don't tend to use these myself. Next part of the body here, where you've got this fancy cutaway, you've got your gold accent on the chuck here, which holds your needle in place. And then the next one down, if I take the back off, and these are really silky smooth on these, when you take these off. Just stand that up. This piece here on the back, if you adjust this, you can wind this piece in and out on this piece here. This sorts out your tension. So you've got a spring inside the body here, and when you wind that all the way in, it makes the trigger movement going back a lot tighter. And then if you loosen this up, it makes it a lot more softer moving back. Now when I did the review on the 0.2, I find the actual triggers really soft anyway, so I've sort of wound this right in for maximum tension on the brush, just to get a little bit more feedback in the trigger when you're moving backwards and forwards. To the front, you've got a cutaway here, where you can see your needle go through. And I think you can adjust on these as well. I think this is an adjustment inside here. You get these on the custom microns where you've got the open body bit here and you can adjust. To the front, crown cap, that unscrews like that. And then you've got your next part of the body, that piece unscrews, you take that piece out, and then you've got your floating nozzle design. I'll pop a little picture up in the screen now of a close-up. That's the actual nozzle, and as you can see in the image on the screen, it's got flutes going down to the front that sort of twist and go down. Now this is for your airflow, and you will find when you spray with this brush, it's a really weird feeling when you spray with it. It's sort of, you can go very low pressure on this because it just gets the air out really nice on the front of the brush. You'll see this in the demo. I'll do the air pressures and we'll drop the air pressures on the brush and we'll put some paint in. So that's the new floating nozzle design that Gaahleri have done. On the top you've got the bigger cup to this. On the 0.2 you've got the smaller cup, but you get the bigger cup on this. The 0.2 version with the smaller cup will fit straight across to this body. So if you've got the 0.2, you can bring that cup across to this one. You can use these without the cups as well, if you want to. You take the cups off like that and you can just use it with no cup and just put a few drops of paint in and then work it that way. So you can do that if you want a bit more visibility. If you're an airbrusher that sort of paints straight on with your brush, sometimes big cups can get in the way and block your view of your artwork, but you can use this without the cup on if you're sort of painting straight on. I always tend to paint at an angle like this when I'm using a top cup airbrush, and I found the cups on these are better than the 39 and the 98. The threads are better. On the 39 and 98, they're sort of loose and wobbly. These, they are machined a lot better. So back to what I was saying, I tend to sort of sit at an angle like that and sort of paint and look here when I'm holding the top cup. I just find that comfortable painting at an angle like that. You'll probably do the same if you're right-handed. You'll sort of paint like this at an angle, and then you sort of look at your artwork here, and you've got your cup sort of out the way. When you use a side feed, it drops to the side and you've got full view. So that's basically the brush. It's exactly the sort of same as the 0.2, but without the Mac valve. Same sort of finish. We'll get the mini camera, we'll do a close-up on the internals, because I did find a burr on the 0.2, which I've sorted now. It was a quite easy issue to sort, but there was a tiny little sort of burr inside the body, just sticking out where the paint goes. Really hard to see just by looking in the cup, you wouldn't see it, but when I put the mini camera inside, you could just see it on the side of the body. Got a Dremel, little bit of like 2000 sandpaper, and just buzzed it in, polished it up, and it's good to go. So I'll get the mini camera, let's take a look. Right guys, this is the internal of the cup, where you take the cup off, I put the camera down. Now in the 0.2 there was a burr on the 0.2 on the bottom wall of the inside of the body. This one is really clean. Can't fault it on the inside there, that is absolutely perfect when you see on that camera shot there. Now the next one is inside where the trigger is. Now that's the trigger bit that sits behind the trigger. You see that little defect slightly on the top there? But the rest of that's really clean. The actual inside of the body where the air valve, that's the air valve there. It's a lot cleaner than the 0.2 when we looked at the 0.2 internal. So the internals on the 0.3 are better on this one than on the 0.2. And I can feel the difference between the two as well. On the air valve on the 0.2 to the 0.3, the 0.3 seems a little bit more smoother. And when I took the back of the body off of the 0.3 to do this little bit of footage for you, there was a lot more lube on the back of this when I unscrewed it. It just feels a little bit better, and you can tell by the camera shots that the internals on the 0.3 are better. On this next clip here, that's inside the front where you take the actual nozzle off. Nice and clean, nice machine. That's how the 0.2 was, exactly the same on that picture there. Nice and clean. On this one, this is the floating nozzle. So you can see the design on that. See all the little flutes that go around, that's where the air comes down to the front. And then on this one, this is the crown cap. This is looking at the top front end of the crown cap. So nice clean on the crown cap on the front. And then on this next clip, this is on the inside where your floating nozzle sits, on the inside of that. Again, nice and clean on that, nicely machined, nice finish. So out the two, I think three's come better on the internals with the camera, looking inside it, than the 0.2. Because the 0.2 had a little bit more defects around where the air pin was. The 0.3 is a lot clearer and cleaner. So we will move on to the next step. I'll set the easel up. We'll do some tests with it. I'm going to use some Createx illustration in this and a little bit of FW ink. We'll try it at different pressures and see what it's like. See you in a bit. Right guys, we've got the Mobius 0.3. Hooked up on the airline, I've got a Mac valve just here, so I can just sort of dial the pressure in. Now I'm running, as you can hear that, I'm running 25 psi, and I can just slowly drop the air pressure down here to what I want. The paints we're going to use, we've got some Createx illustration. I've got some of that mixed up just here, and I've gone 1-to-1 mix on that one, and we've also got some FW inks, and I've got some mixed up here, and I've mixed that a 1-to-1 as well. So I've just put some water in and blasted through, and I'm running full tension on this trigger. So I've wound this right in, because the triggers on these, you will find, are very soft. So we'll drop some paint in. We'll go with the Createx first. So drop a little bit of that in there, pull that through, and we'll just give this a little try on some dots. Now, take the crown cap off. First impressions on this trigger, they are very, very accurate, guys. Can you see them tiny little dots? I am just touching that trigger, and they are, you probably can't see that on camera, but they're super fine. And this is the 0.3. Now, out the two, me personally, I think the 0.3 is better. Is a lot better than the 0.2. I am just touching that trigger. That gets super down. You can see them tiny little dagger strokes. So the responsiveness on that, if I can try and angle it so you can see how much I'm pulling back, it is absolute minimal. You see how tiny they go down on that? Just touching that trigger. Just start to back off and pull back a bit. Really nice atomization on that. And drop. That was with the air pressure down. So this is back to 25. A little bit of tip dry on there. But that is ridiculously, you can see my finger. I'm literally, it just feels like I'm pushing down on the air and just slightly touching back. That's how small this brush can get down on a 0.3. Consistent on the lines, as you can see. Really, really nice trigger. Extremely nice trigger on this. This is a lot better than when I demoed the 0.2. It really is a lot better. So if you're thinking you need the 0.2 to get super detail down, you don't. The 0.3 is phenomenal. Look how fine that is. Extremely fine. Full spray on that. That's full back on the 0.3. Puts the paint down. So that's with the Createx, and you'll find with this, wind this, your tension right in. Just take it right in, because the trigger is soft enough. Quick blast through. We'll drop a little bit of water in there. Little back bubble. Pinch over the front. Bubble it up. Blast it out. clean that through. This one should show up a little bit clearer because it's black. The Createx illustration was a Payne's grey. So you see that? That's when you just press down and you get in paint. That's where the needle just wants, that's just a little bit of build up on the needle at the front when it does that. It just makes your needle sit back. So again, you just look how much I'm nudging my thumb. I'm trying to keep my thumb out of the way so you can see it. I'm spidering there because the pressure's too high. Turn that pressure down. Look how small them dots are. I'm trying to move minimal. Look at that. It's on point, guys. It really is on point. That's ridiculously down for a 0.3. That's how fine you can get this brush. Slightly breaking up, but I think that's the paint. Moving back. Consistent, as you can see. Just get to grips with this trigger. So nice on consistency, a little bit of tip dry. It's cold in the studio as well, so my hands are a bit cold today. Nothing worse than having cold hands and trying to concentrate. Doing a little bit of airbrushing, best in the warm studio. But it works. It's comfortable. The trigger is very soft. I mean, I don't think I can get any more tension on that. I think that's fully in. That is fully in on the tension. And it is soft. But you just instantly hit what you want to hit. I mean, look at how tiny they are. Just straight down. From big like that, and you can just go straight in, slightly spidering, and you hit the tiny little details. So for the price of this brush on a 0.3, honest opinion, I don't think you can beat it. I don't think you can beat it for the price. You really can't. It's sort of opened my eyes a bit really on this. It's after using the 0.2, which is here, the 0.3 is just, I think it's better. I really do. I think it's the 0.3 is on a sweet spot. It's just better for flow with paint. You'll find that. You can be a bit fiddly with a 0.2. You've really got to get your paint styled in. But I've just done a 1-to-1 mix with the illustration and the FW. And in the 0.3 it just works lovely. I am cold, my hands are shaking because I'm cold. Try and do it without shaking. But yeah, lovely trigger, lovely trigger. Yeah, a nice brush, guys. You can't go wrong for the price. You really cannot go wrong for the price. It just works very, very well. What I'll do is I'll hook the 0.2 up, give that a little blast through, hook the 0.2 up, and I'll just have another go with the 0.2. and just see how this. We'll drop some illustration in the 0.2. That's my phone. Yeah, it's getting silly down again. I mean, look how tiny they are. Excuse the phone. Yeah, the trigger on the 0.3 is better. This feels a little bit clunkier. The trigger on the 0.3 is smoother. Gets down the same, exactly the same. But you'll find the little less drama with the 0.3 than the 0.2. But this trigger feels clunkier. And I've seen that when we did the close-up on the miniature camera, there was some defects on the 0.2. It was just a lot rougher round where the air valve was. This is how cold my hands are, I can't get this on. Yeah, round where the air valve was on the 0.2 was rough. There's a burr inside the cup that was there, and the mechanism to the back was a little bit rougher. On this 0.3, it's just smoother. It's a lot smoother. Drop a little more paint in there, a bit more of the FW. Yeah, the 0.3 is better. I just think it's the chance you take. I mean, they kindly sent this one out, and I think this is a better brush. It's you've seen on that video that the internals were better, and it's just a lot smoother. A lot smoother. And it gets down very, very well. A lot better than the 0.2. So I just think that was a bad one that was sent out, the two brushes. But for me, the 0.3, if you're going to go for one, guys, yes, the 0.2's got the Mac valve on it. They are nice because you can dial them in on the front. But I find you'll get better on with the 0.3. It's just a better all-rounder on the needle setup, it really is. So my final thoughts on the Gaahleri Mobius 0.3. You can see what it can do. I mean, it can get seriously down on detail. I mean, them lines there are really, really fine. They're hairline with ease with this brush. It's a very nice brush. It's comfortable. And this is an honest opinion, guys. They're comfortable, they work, and for the price, you can't go wrong, you know. You always say you get what you pay for. You are getting a lot here for what you pay for. Consistent. Nice on the dagger strokes, on point to points. Yeah, this paint is a little bit thin. Yeah, a nice brush. So if you are thinking of one and you're on that budget where you can afford the price of one of these, just go for one. You won't look back. They're a nice brush. Just keep it clean front end. Keep it nice and clean. Don't overstrip them, and don't think you've got to completely strip it down to its bare bones every time you use it. Just clean from here down. Keep it nice and clean. Keep them in your airbrush hangers pointing down instead of pointing backwards. You want to keep your paint flow to the front. I always say that with all my brushes. Keep them angled down. And if you're working with the crown cap off, just watch it when you're going close up to your paper, because it is so easy just to dink in the front, and you'll just damage your needle. So yes, you can work with the crown cap on, not a problem. But if you want to get real up close, it's nice to work with these off, because then you can see where your needle is to your paper. But just be really careful going down, because it's so easy to dink your needle. So I hope you've enjoyed the video on the Gaahleri Mobius 0.3. I really like it, really do like it. I prefer it to that one. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, click that subscribe, press that notification, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.